We need also to understand the workflow or the work order flow, which is common in most of the plants. How it proceeds, how the work request is converted into a work order. So this is a simple template that what we are going to go through, just to understand the whole system, how it works. It might depend on the plant or the industry you're coming from, the background you're coming from. There might be slightly differences between one industry to another, but most probably this is the sequences, this is the way the work order is flowing. So the first thing is the work request. So whoever is authorized in the plant to issue a work request, to issue a job, either if it's coming from the inspection team or the team who's in charge of the inspection job. So he's doing the inspection on the equipment, and then if he finds or observes any problem or any issue, so he would raise a work request to the other parties in order to check or to do further investigation. And if there is a real problem, so we should plan for a work order in order to make it ready for the execution team to be completed. So the work request, the first thing, is being received either by the team who is in charge of the planning function in the plant, or sometimes the head of the department who is authorized to issue a work request. It might be the operation team might be authorized to issue a work request. It might be the other maintenance parties as well, either if it's a mechanical team, electrical team, or the inspection team, if there's a dedicated team for inspection, for example. So all these teams, they are authorized to issue a work request. So the head of such department usually is the person who is in charge of receiving the work request, because he has to do something else, which is the filtration or the validation of the work request. Filtration or validation of the work request is a simple step which has to be done in order not to duplicate the work inside the CMMS system. So the person who's in charge or the issuer of the work request, he's supposed to cross-check if the same job was requested before or was requested from any other team member or any other party inside the plant or any other stakeholder of the equipment. Because if the work request or the job was requested, already requested by other party or team member, he's not supposed to duplicate the work or re-request again the same job. So this is the job or the objective, the main objective of the filtration step. Then once the request is filtered or validated, so it means that this job is not requested before or issued before as a work request by any other team member in the plant. So the planner in this case, or in this step, is supposed to receive this work request and start to plan for the work request to become a work order. So the planner start, as we will see also into further details, he will start to investigate about the main issue or the problem, what kind of spares is requested or are requested. For example, if there's a repair or some sort of replacement. The planner would also identify and assign the required skills or labors, and then he would plan or attach the maintenance work instructions and also estimate the duration of the job. Once everything is ready, so then it will go for the next step, which is the approval of the work order. And mainly the step of the approval for the work order, it's related to the budget. So for example, the head of the maintenance department usually would check if the amount, the estimated value of this work order would match or will be would cope as part of the maintenance budget or not. So if it's not mandatory, or if it's not critical job, and it could be postponed, for example, because it will exceed the pre-estimated budget of the maintenance, so it could be postponed or delayed. If it's okay, so the head of the maintenance, for example, would approve the work order, and then it will go to the second step, which is scheduling of the work order itself. So once the work order is ready, planned, and approved, it should be scheduled. So if it needs, for example, a stoppage of the equipment, so the planner has to arrange, or the scheduler, if the scheduling job is separate from the planning job, usually it might be either combined together in one function, or it might be as well separated into two different functions and two different people or teams. So this the person who's in charge of the scheduling should arrange with the other parties, for example, the operation team, in order to arrange for the proper time for stopping the equipment if the job needs the equipment to be stopped in order to be completed, or something like this. The next step is the issuance of the work order itself. So once the work order is approved and scheduled, so it should be issued to the execution team to be executed and completed. Then the execution team would execute the work order, and then after the execution team would execute the work order, he's supposed to finalize the work order by giving the feedback, as we will discuss, that he's supposed to stick to the job plan which was previously approved, and then if there's any modification or change in the job plan, he's supposed to give a feedback if he used a different spare part rather than the one was planned for, if the estimated duration was not correct, so he has to give his feedback. If there was any milestones or challenges or delays, he has to give the feedback on this. So the planner, the maintenance planner, should modify the job plan again in order to match or to come very close to the reality. And then after he gives the feedback, he's supposed to complete the work order on the system.